They said the gods made us, but they never told you why. Before history, before language, there were visitors who walked like men, but were not men. They mined, they ruled, they bred. And when they left, they erased every trace of their empire, except one: us. Tonight, you'll hear what humanity was never meant to remember, because the truth isn't ancient mythology. It's ancestral trauma. Today, we dive into the Anunnaki. Part 1. The gods that bled. They didn't descend from heaven. They landed. Sumerian tablets don't pray to them. They report them. Coordinates, mining quotas, hierarchies, rivalries, wars. They weren't spirits. They were a workforce. And Earth was their colony. The tablets whisper of their rebellion, the Igigi, worker gods, breaking their tools, surrounding Enlil's palace. Their cries reached the heavens, and the higher gods made a decision that would change everything. They wouldn't fix the problem, they'd replace it. They would engineer a new servant, a species both primitive and obedient. A species with just enough intelligence to build, but not enough to question. That species was us. Part 2. Adamu, the first experiment. Forget the garden. The first Eden was a lab. Enki, the scientist god, took an existing hominid, Homo erectus. He spliced it with divine DNA. He called the hybrid Adamu, half earth, half sky, designed to obey. But Adamu didn't just work. He learned, faster than they expected, faster than they wanted. Enki looked at his creation and saw something dangerous: curiosity. Enlil saw it too and swore it would be erased. The story you know as the Tree of Knowledge, that wasn't temptation, it was infection. The moment humanity became self-aware and the gods panicked. What if Eden wasn't paradise, but quarantine? Part 3. The Flood of Erasure. Humans multiplied, they built, they began to dream beyond their station, and the gods, watching from above, saw a species rising too fast. The council gathered. The decision was unanimous. Reset the experiment. A flood, a purge, a silence. But one of them disobeyed. Enki whispered to a human, Zusudra, told him to build a vessel to hide the code of life. When the waters came, it rained for 7 nights and 7 terrors. And when it ended, the world was clean, but empty, except for a few survivors carrying forbidden memory in their blood. The gods rebuilt humanity, weaker, shorter-lived, more obedient. Our punishment for remembering was mortality itself. But some memories can't be drowned. Part 4. The Kings of Divine Blood. After the flood, kingship descended from heaven, not metaphor, mandate. Alulim ruled 28,800 years, Alulgar 26,000. They weren't kings, they were hybrids. Their veins carried diluted divinity, their minds encoded to serve their creator's agenda. Egypt, called them pharaohs. Mesopotamia called them demigods.
Every ancient throne was an echo of that first command: rule in our image. Even Gilgamesh, part god, part man, hunted immortality not out of greed, but because he remembered what it felt like to have it. And somewhere in his search, he found something they feared. Part 5, the Sky Architects. How do you build a pyramid that aligns with Orion? How do you lift 70-ton stones without machines? You don't, unless you had help. The Anunnaki left markers across the earth: Giza, Teotihuacan, Baalbek, Pumapunku. Each site hums with geometric precision. Each structure points to the same coordinates, out there. We call it mythology. They called it navigation. The gods didn't build tombs, they built terminals, energy hubs, resonance machines, gateways. And when they left, they sealed them shut. Every holy mountain, a locked machine, waiting for a frequency we no longer remember. But what happens when we rediscover the key? Part 6, the code in our blood. Scientists call it junk DNA. The rest of us call it a mystery. 98% of your code does nothing, or so they claim. But what if that 98% is dormant? A backup file from another world. Human chromosome 2, a fusion not found in any primate. A biological signature stamped by an editor we cannot trace. Francis Crick called it directed panspermia, life seeded, not born, delivered. And every now and then, in dreams, in genius, in madness, that ancient program glitches awake, the echo of the gods inside us, whispering, remember. If our DNA is a message, who is it waiting for to read it? Part 8, the only ones who never left. You think they're gone, then explain the lights beneath the oceans, the mountains that hum, the Antarctic anomalies governments refuse to discuss. They didn't go home, they went underground. The crypto-terrestrial theory says they're still here, a breakaway species older than us, smarter than us, hidden in plain sight. Ancient texts called them the Watchers. Modern witnesses call them UFO occupants. Different names, same eyes. Every major base near magnetic anomalies, every abduction near ancient sacred ground. It's not coincidence, it's maintenance, because maybe Earth was never ours to begin with. Part 8, the weapons of the gods. The tablets speak of me, divine powers that could destroy cities. Enlil wielded the evil wind, skies turned black, ground turned glass. We call it myth. Geologists call it vitrified stone. The ancients called it judgment. These were not metaphors for storms. They were weapons, energy devices capable of bending matter. The lightning of Marduk, the Brahmastra of Arjuna, the pillar of fire that followed Moses, different tongues describing the same horror. What if Sodom and Gomorrah weren't destroyed by sin, but by science?
Part 9, the door in the sky. Ezekiel saw wheels within wheels alive with fire. Elijah rose in a chariot of flame. John spoke of a door opening in heaven. These weren't visions, they were encounters, field reports written in the only language they knew. Eyes all around, thunder, voices, sea of glass. Descriptions of a craft, an engine, a machine that could split the veil between worlds. And the voice that said, "Come up here," not divine, directive. What if revelation isn't prophecy, but protocol? Part 10, The Return Window. Every 3,600 years, Nibiru swings close again, and with it, them. Ancient prophets called it the Great Crossing. Modern astronomers call it Planet 9. 10 times the mass of Earth, invisible to the naked eye. But something's tugging at our solar system, something massive, something inbound. If Nibiru is real, then its clock is nearly done. Some say the earthquakes, the sky sounds, the magnetic shifts are not random. They are warnings. A cosmic re-entry burn. What if the apocalypse isn't destruction, but arrival? Part 11. The Final Confession. For centuries, kings and priests hid this knowledge. They built religions to soften the blow. They told us the gods were kind, that heaven was love, that creation was a gift. It wasn't. It was a transaction, and we were the product. But the gods underestimated us. We evolved faster than their containment plan allowed. We built machines, satellites, nuclear fire. We looked back into the sky and remembered. That's why they're coming back, not to save us, to audit us. And when they find what we've done with their creation, what will they decide? Part 12. The Forbidden Ending. In every legend, they promise to return. But what if they already have? What if the reason governments hide UFO data isn't panic, but diplomacy? A silent renewal of the ancient contract. Gold still matters, control still matters, and humanity is still a resource. Look at your wrist, your veins, the pulse that beats in your chest. That rhythm isn't human, it's coded, a frequency. When the creators return, they won't come for the sky or the oceans. They'll come for the thing they made first and lost control of, us. And the question that will decide everything: was the spark Enki gave us, the one thing that made us dangerous, the reason we'll survive, or the reason they'll finally erase us for good? Part 2, The Awakening, coming soon.